from Cleveland. It's Alex Bastecki on your left with 4-color Shadow against Dalton Copenhaver playing humans. Bastecki is a former invitational champion. I feel like I've said that so many times this weekend because we've got so many of them here this weekend in Aaron Barrich, Alex Bastecki, Dylan Donegan, Caleb Shear, and so many more.
It's this interesting kind of shift in the culture a little bit where, the SCG Tour in 2015, 2016 was so focused on the Players' Championship, and we got used to those players. The Player Championship was canceled for a couple of years, and kind of a new crop of people started playing in the Opens. And now with the return of the Players Championship, a lot of those players from 2015 and 2016 are back on the tour. And so we have this blend of the new blood who kind of came in 2017 and 2018, mixing with some of our competitive staples of the SCG Tour from back in the Players Championship days.
They are certainly here, that is to be sure, as Alex Bastecki is going to start things off here with a copy of Mishra's Bauble, his 4-color Shadow deck that does contain Wild Nacatl. You'll be able to find those deck lists on Cardboard Live here, folks. Get your eyes on those. As Bastecki was maybe a surprise winner when he did win that invitational, playing against Stephen Mann in the finals, who was having such a great year, and Bastecki being down very quickly in that finals of the invitational. He won 0-2, but a slight misstep from Mann in game number 3. Bastecki taking advantage of that, and then winning games number 4 and 5 led to him hoisting the trophy at that invitational that he won back in 2015.
I'm pretty interested in 4-color Shadow as a deck right now. There just aren't that many. In humans, too. You know what both of these decks have in common? They're not great against Fatal Push. And there aren't a whole lot of Fatal Pushes around right now.
There are not a lot of Fatal Pushes around, that is to be sure, as Copenhaver is going to play an unclaimed territory naming humans and then a copy of Ether Vial.
And this is this build of 4-color Shadow is very different from the Grixis style, where you have a couple Temur Battle Rages and they're to help you in the fast matchup. You play with a lot of removal and cantripping. This deck has 4 copies of Temur Battle Rage along with 3 copies of Become Immense. So it's much more of a combo style deck than Grixis Death Shadow, which is, in some matchups it's aggressive, in some matchups it's controlling, but it's not really that locked in on trying to generate the combo kills.
Ancient Ziggurat here for Copenhaver as he moves the Vial up to 2. Bastecki off to a pretty difficult start. Nothing really doing for him just yet, as now Copenhaver will play a copy of Kitesail Freebooter. See exactly what Alex is working with here, I presume. Alex wants to take a look at the Freebooter. If you do kill it with the ability on the stack, that means that he'll get to see the hand, will Dalton, but not be able to actually keep anything underneath it. So I think that's the conversation that Alex is having with Dalton at the moment. So if Alex would like to fire off that Lightning Bolt, for example, feel free. And there is your Flying Human Pirate in Kitesail Freebooter, a card that was printed in Ixalan block that has helped put this humans deck on the map. It was maybe one of the missing pieces as far as disruption is concerned.
Yeah, the deck kind of was missing one more, plausible human that provides an element of disruption. And the fact that it pairs so well with Meddling Mage on so many different fronts was a big part in putting this deck over the edge. So I played this is back in the Deathrite Shaman days. At Grand Prix Portland, I played a 5-color sort of Tribal Flames, good stuff, Tarmogoyf, Snapcaster or whatever sort of deck. Punted my match for top 8, obviously.
There he is.
Played horribly and lost, but top 16, whatever. It's not bad. It's not bad for Grand Prix. Anywho, the act of fetching dual lands with that deck, so complicated, especially when you're on one land and you have to think about, well, what are all the lands that I could draw? Not all of your fetch lands allow you to get all of your dual lands, and so that operation, it was harder than the actual playing of the deck, and you can see Bastecki here with needs for red mana as well, and had to choose between having green and black or red and black or even red and green.
It is a real decision with this kind of strategy, no doubt.
So if he wants to, he can use the Wooded Foothills to get a Sacred Foundry, and then all of the lands are online, except you don't have the option of being able to become immense your Death Shadow and play a black spell in the same turn. But that's like, I guess he's got the 4 Thoughtseizes. Yeah, so it's just a lot to consider with these lands. And you can get a Godless Shrine if you want to, which allows you to play a black spell. And your Become Immense the next turn, but then you can't do anything with the Lightning Bolt.
There is the Blood Crypt.
But I think the Sacred Foundry is in this deck game 1 only for Wild Nacatl.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
There are no white cards.
Yep. Now there is Wild Nacatl and Death Shadow. You can see Alex making it very clear about how he's casting those cards.
Not very common for Wild Nacatl to be cast with 2 dual lands in play and have it not be a 3/3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've seen Wild Nacatl, honestly.
When I played in that Grand Prix, just for the sake of record, I had Deathrite Shaman in my deck and not Wild Nacatl because Wild Nacatl was banned.
Yes.
Illegal maneuver.
Yeah. Much too good. It's like the pile driver in WWE. Gone.
Gone. Banned.
It is humorous to think about Wild Nacatl being banned in the Lightning Bolt Fatal Push format. Well, I know Fatal Push wasn't a card then.
Yeah. People are playing with Wall of Omens.
Yeah.
Snapcaster Path Bolt.
Yeah. Nacatl, gotta go.
Yeah. I mean, the case was that Nacatl, it's sort of the Splinter Twin case in some respects, that Nacatl is so much better than the next best thing for a beatdown deck that it collapsed all the beatdown decks into Wild Nacatl decks. Mm-hmm. Which is not true, I don't think. And I believe the card Student of War was mentioned in the ban article.
Student of Warfare?
Student of Warfare.
That card's horrible. Oh boy, Manus Rider? Manus Rider feeling tough? Oof. Death Shadow getting mad.
Okay.
This is a little risky business here from Dalton. It does have Vigilance, and he does have a Violon too, but...
You made me do this.
Yeah. It's your fault. This is the kind of tension when you're playing against Death Shadow that makes it, in my opinion, so much fun. But anything that happens is kind of your fault.
Thoughtseize is a big draw here, and it's really complicated because the options that Bastecki has afforded to him are you can Thoughtseize Bolt, you can Become Immense Bolt, or you can Become Immense Thoughtseize, but you can't do all 3. Mm-hmm. So the question is, you just ignore the Thoughtseize that's in your hand and try to kind of manage the board with a Bolt and the Become Immense, or do you try to set up Become Immense for next turn and just Bolt plus Thoughtseize?
He's not sure, and neither am I.
Because if you go, I mean, it seems easy just to say, yeah, you Thoughtseize and then Bolt, but if there's a Manus Rider off the top of the deck, you just die in a position where it feels pretty favorable.
8/8 Death Shadow right now, folks. Don't forget about the Mutagenic Growth that's in hand, too.
Yeah.
That's the other card. Now, is Bastecki willing to let it rip, as it were?
So he can Mutagenic Growth, and that's worth 4 points. Become Immense is 6, so that gets you to 10, 12. Yeah, I think.
You gotta do the math.
Is there anything that could hop out on a Violon 2 if he says no blocks that breaks this up? I don't really think so. It's all 3s.
Guess not. He must have no 2s then. Not entirely sure. Either way, Bastecki able to get the job done, and he wins game number 1 here over Dalton Copenhaver as 4-color Shadow very quickly up a game here over Humans. Alex Bastecki making a run here in Cleveland, looking to get back to the top 8 as we take a look at the sideboards here for both players. This Auriok Champion as a 4-of thing is starting to get a little bit common here, folks. There are 4 in the sideboard here for Dalton, along with 2 Knight of Autumn, 2 Grab Trigger's Cage, 2 Dismembers. We've also got 2 Deputy Detention, 2 Dampening Sphere, and a Singleton Campbell Council of Allocation.
So really like the Deputy and the Dismembers, and I think I can be talked into Auriok Champion here. There's a lot of red and black non-trampling creatures. The life matters, so it could also be like not impactful enough to really bring in, but certainly the deputy and the dismembers seem great.
Other side of things here for Alex, his sideboard, unsurprisingly, is quite varied. 3 Collective Brutality, 2 Hooting Mandrills, big hoots, 2 Fatal Push, 2, I bet you, do you know what that white card is? I know what it is.
That is, it's give something protection from a color, and Finest Hour, all your team gets it, right?
Well done.
I don't know the name, but
Faith Shield.
Faith Shield.
Yeah. 2 Assassin's Trophy, a Duress, a Claim Fame, an Inquisition of Kozilek, and an Ancient Grudge. A lot of options here for Alex. What do you like?
The Fatal Push is certainly.
Okay.
Probably, I would, especially on the draw, want Inquisition more than Thoughtseize, but he might not want any discard spells at all. And I think Humans probably has a too diverse of a spread of colors among its creatures to try to do the Faith Shield punk out. So the Assassin's Trophy, the Inquisition if he wants that sort of thing, and the Fatal Pushes, I think is what I would bring in.
Well, right there, folks, those are your options there for both players. They're going to shuffle up and get ready for another game of Magic here. As we are getting into the nitty-gritty here. Both these players 10-3. A win here keeps their top 8 dreams alive. A loss means that they will not be in elimination rounds later tonight. So we'll see how game number 2 goes. But in the meantime, I do want to talk about the War of the Spark pre-release that is going to be happening sooner than you think, folks. This set looks awesome, and April 27th and the 28th is your first opportunity to play with it. Now, if you want to get this exclusive playmat, this is coup de pas. You got to find a participating store that's going to have it. You can do that by going to go.starcitygames.com/pre-release. You can find out all the information to pick up the coup de pas playmat. Find a pre-release near you that is taking part in this exclusive endeavor, and register today. Again, April 27th and the 28th is when the War of the Spark pre-release is going to be taking place, and we'd love for you to get your hands on this unique playmat and enjoy playing with your Planeswalkers all weekend long. Go.starcitygames.com/pre-release for more information. So we're getting ready here for game number 2. Bastecki mugging for the camera, staring a deep hole into the camera before focusing.
Some self-awareness about it, though. Didn't seem like he was taking himself so seriously there.
A former Invitational champion and most notably known as a judge, I think I would say, for Alex. And I could have said the same about Brian Koval, and they're both Invitational champions, proving that, hey, judges can play too. Judges can play a little Magic too. Alex Bastecki, also a big wrestling fan. Yeah, tweets at me quite a bit. I think listens to the podcast, which I do appreciate, and I hope he's excited for WrestleMania later tonight. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, AJ Styles.
I am so off of watching Brock Lesnar.
Well, it won't be long.
Yeah, I know.
You'll get your 7 minutes, whether you like it or not. You know what Brock Lesnar thinks about you not liking him? He doesn't care.
I know he doesn't care.
He doesn't care even a little.
No, that's fine. He shouldn't. He's very successful. I believe that he works very hard at his craft.
I'm pretty sure he does. He looks like a monster.
Yeah. I don't begrudge his success at all, but I wish I did not have to watch him wrestle anymore.
If you did begrudge his success, he would just attack you.
No. Or even if I didn't. That's this whole thing, right? What was the last match that we watched, the pay-per-view? Against Brock versus...
Probably Roman Reigns.
No, it was Finn.
Oh, Finn Balor. We watched that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
It was just it was a really good, clean match that Brock won. Good, great, right? He can't just leave the ring, right? He's got to sit there and attack him after.
He's got to give beatdowns.
So
after.
Stupid.
He's got to show
what
that he's the man.
What are you even mad about? Yeah, I know. You're so tough. What are you even mad about? You couldn't just it was a great clean match. Great.
Can't just have a great clean match.
Everyone got to hit all their spots. It was entertaining. Just couldn't be done with it, right?
Now more beatdowns.
Couldn't be done with it.
No. I love it. That would be me. I'd be giving beatdowns post-match a lot.
It's artless.
And whenever I was in trouble in a match, I'd roll out of the ring.
Love the rollout.
Play for countouts a lot if I don't feel like wrestling.
Yeah, for sure.
Very lazy wrestler I would be. Kitesail freebooter here from Dalton. He didn't have a 1-drop, but he does have a 2-drop here in the freebooter off the Ziggurat and the Horizon Canopy. Dismember's going to take care of the freebooter again. We saw this last game. Now here's the hand for Bastecki. It's Death Shadow based, that is to be sure. 2 of those, a Fatal Push, 2 Tarmogoyfs, and a Teamer Battle Rage. Going to figure out what land he wants to search up. But Bastecki is already at a very low life total. He took 2 from the Street Wraith. He's going to take 4 from the Dismember, 1 from the Fetch, 2 from the Overgrown Tomb, not Underground Sea. And now all of a sudden he has an 11, which means he can play Death Shadow.
Yep, and that's why he's opening up here on the Dismember rather than the Fatal Push.
And if he draws a land that is preferably a fetch land, you can play 2 copies of Death Shadow, say go. And that's pretty powerful stuff.
Yep. I mean, Copenhaver would be quickly put in a spot to chump block there.
You do have to keep some weird hands with this deck. Well, he drew fetch. Oh, boy.
There it is.
Now, again, the question is, do you deploy Tarmogoyf or do you play 2 copies of Death Shadow? But I think you go with 2 copies of Death Shadow because getting your Tarmogoyf Reflector Maged seems kind of stinky.
Yeah, well, you also kind of want to go wide here a little bit too. First of all, the Death Shadows I think are just the same size anyway, and you want to kind of go wide here because you have Teamer Battle Rage as well.
Yeah,
so you want to make that as complicated as possible for you want to force Copenhaver to have to chump block 2 things instead of 1.
Bastecki's going to play 2 Shadows. They're 2 5/5s, and he's going to pass the turn back. So some fortunate draw steps there for Alex, and he is off to the races as Copenhaver will untap and draw a card. He is already behind, and we are only on the 3rd turn of the game.
130 Legacy players once again in the 130 Legacy Challenge. Your round 2 pairings have been posted. Please find your seats.
In case you may have forgotten just how good Death Shadow is, the card.
Yeah, it's so busted.
Here's a friendly reminder. That is a champion of the parish. This is a Dismember.
The short of it is, you know, as the format, the card pool gets larger and the decks get more powerful, there's just more pressure to do everything possible for 0 and 1. Death Shadow costs 1 and is extremely good with a bunch of cards that cost 0.
Yep.
So there you go.
Shadow going to come in. In for 5. Copenhaver's going to fall down to 9. Now it's time for a Tarmogoyf. Simply pass the turn back. There is a land, a creature, and an instant in the graveyard. So it's just going to be a little 3/4 for right now. So Copenhaver will draw a card. Looks like he's having some difficulty finding a 3rd land. See a copy of Reflector Mage in hand. First time seeing Dalton on camera. The bright lights have not been kind, as Bastecki's had some very good draws here in what might be 2 very short games.
Yeah, it's tough when you're trying to cast cards that actually cost 3.
Yeah, in this format, sometimes it is.
And this is, you know, it's emblematic of why, you know, I like decks like Shadow. The games are over so fast that you just have to do something.
Yeah.
And then part of the reason that I like Mutagenic Growth and, you know, Dismember and Gut Shots and all those kind of cards is the games get determined on such a fast timeline that you just have to do something. And anytime those cards exchange with something that actually costs mana, I think it correlates very highly with just winning the game.
Looks like Phantasmal Image is going to copy Death Shadow. That's a Fatal Push there. Become Immense here. Doesn't matter what you block because we are done. Alex Bastecki going to win this game and match over Dalton Copenhaver 2-0. Alex gives whoever he's